Hello ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? My name's a Flying Chicken. It's been a while. So before I get into this video, just wanted to say that this video is not intended for the pros. It's aimed at people like myself. As you all know, I can't aim very well, and so I've had to compensate for the fact by changing how I play this game. There are a lot of people who play this game who are fucking awesome at pulling off the sickest shots. Their aim is impeccable. I get lots of comments on my videos from people telling me how bad I am and how great they are. And guess what? They're probably right. This video is not aimed at people who play this game well. It's aimed at, like I said, people like myself who wish to get better. So if you're sat there watching this video thinking to yourself, this guy is so bad, I need to tell him how bad he is, then just save your time. I know the score. Okay? Remember, we are taking beginner gameplay to the next level. Here's a quick tip. When you start a game, always head in the opposite direction from which you are facing. It helps get the first blood a lot more. It might just be one of those things that I do that has no real substance in it, but I feel like it works for me. I think if I was looking at this logically, the reason behind it is that when you spawn, you're unable to see anyone else, and no one can see you either. So there's a greater chance you will spawn with your back to someone than facing them. Now, this isn't the quick tip show. When I play like this, in the majority of my games, I finish with a high KDR, quite commonly in the range of between 5 and 7. And I wanted to have a think about what it was I was doing to get these scores, despite not being a demon on the sticks. So, do I camp? No. Camping is for noobs. And I actively seek out the next person to kill and don't stay in the same place for more than a few seconds. There are two reasons as to why I get good game scores. The first is my playstyle, the second is my setup. I'll talk about my playstyle first. Whenever I go into an environment, new room, around a corner, etc., the main thing on my mind is, how am I going to stay alive? And that is the main thing that any player should be considering at every point in the game. Let's say, for example, we are on a ray. That's the snowy one with the radar dish on the floor for anyone who's not got to grips with the maps yet. A ray has lots of wide open areas. Now let's assume that I spawn at the large telecommunications mast. That's the one where a lot of people snipe from. And I can see that there are a lot of blips coming from the other side of the map. I obviously want to get close to the fighting, but how do I stay alive, getting from where I am to where I want to be? If I were to just run across the field, then I'm exposing myself from all directions. And remember that people will spawn behind you so long as they are out of your field of vision. And there's every chance I'm going to get shot. So how do I stay alive? What I'd do in this situation would be to take a second to have a look around and take in my surroundings. I'd look and listen and be comfortable with what I see and hear. I just wish to emphasise the sound aspect. Sound is just as important as what you can see, sometimes even more important. Okay? I would then move to the centre rocks and bushes and repeat the process of taking in my surroundings. This process of moving to cover and then observing may take a few seconds longer, but what is the use in taking a shortcut if you're going to die? You need to judge each new area as you come to it. Some risks you may think are worth it, but each time you must think, how am I going to stay alive? This takes us on to engaging in combat, and to quote my favourite commentator, Woody's gamer tag, controlling the engagement. How do we engage in combat, and how does this tie into the idea of how do we stay alive? If you put yourself into a position where you are face to face with an enemy who is ready to fight, then there is very little control. It comes down to who is the better shot, and who has the better connection in some cases. So what are the first thoughts that come into your mind? How about, don't put yourself into a position where you'll be facing with the enemy. Sounds logical, right? Remember, before you walked into this room you were already thinking, how do I stay alive? So you should have taken in all you could see and hear. you will have been confident that walking into the room you could stay alive. You want to build on that confidence and use your awareness about your environment to your advantage. Ask yourself, where are the entrances and exits? How do people navigate this area? When someone walks in, what do they see? Once you consider all these things, Once you consider all these things, you'll begin to put yourself into positions in any environment where you are at an advantage. For instance, if it's usual for a player to enter a room through door A and exit through door B, and typically people look to the left as they enter, make sure you're to their right. This will allow you to surprise your enemy and have the upper hand. To quote a great general and strategist, be extremely subtle, even to the point of formlessness. Be extremely mysterious, even to the point of soundlessness. Thereby you can be the director of the opponent's fate. And I'm sure you know who that's by. Now let's assume that despite your efforts you are confronted by an enemy. He is ready to fight and so are you. Your enemy is a better shot than you are. How are you going to stay alive? I'll tell you what's not going to help you stay alive, and that's panicking. When you panic, you squeeze the controller, and what happens is you knife. You knife and you miss. The knife is a tool for tools. You are not a tool, so don't use your knife as a viable combat option. The knife should only be used when planned properly, i.e., when you wish to remain silent and you have an easy target. Your best option here is to actually change your button layout from default to tactical. Instead of panic knifing, you will drop to the floor and eventually you will learn how to drop shot. The drop shot is probably your only saviour if you're not great at aiming. Your main weapon is not your gun, but your awareness of the environment. You need to use sound and vision to your advantage. If you can see a red dot on your minimap, you're already one step ahead of your opponent. Eventually, you will learn common routes and will know where someone is going and will allow you to prepare to engage. Here are a few ideas as to what you can do to give you an advantage. UAV. If you know where your enemy is, then you're at an advantage. Motion sensor. Use this to cover your back when moving between areas. Decoy grenade. Use this to track your enemy while you lay in wait. Nova gas. Use this to cover your back by blocking easy passage into areas. Has your enemy been in combat? And so do they need to reload? Is your enemy running? And thus at a disadvantage when it comes to aiming? The last one is down to your setup, which brings me to my second point, my setup. I have discussed ways of keeping yourself alive and controlling the engagement. I talked about how important taking in your environment is. There are always ways to make everything a little easier for you. Hands up how many of you play in front of your TV using the TV sound. That's quite a lot of people. It's damn near impossible to identify which direction a sound is coming from when you have stereo sound coming at you from in front of you. By simply changing to a stereo headset will dramatically increase your performance. You will be able to identify if the sound is coming from your left or from your right. So essentially, you're doubling your audible awareness. Any headset will do, however, the more money you have to spend, the better the quality and the better the performance. Turtle Beach do some decent gaming headsets for only a small fee. These will allow you to chat and hear the game through just one device. Stereo sound is all well and good, however it can't touch the quality of 5.1 surround sound. I use Astro A40 headset with Astro Mixamp. These babies give me a full 360 degree audible experience. I can hear exactly where someone is and the direction they are heading. This gives me the ability to prepare for combat and help me control the engagement so much better. A surround sound setup is not cheap, however, and it's going to set you back a few hundred, but it's worth it in my opinion. I can confidently say that buying this Astro amp and headset package was one of my best purchases ever. I will put a link in the description as to where I bought mine from. Excuse me. You will probably have wondering what the red thing in the middle of the screen is. As you well know, my main failing is my ability to aim. It's difficult for me to line the enemy up after I've scoped in. To compensate for that, I use a fixed reticle sticker. This allows me to pre-aim, as I always know where the sensor is. It helps me keep my gun up when I'm running. I find I have a tendency to look at the floor while moving. This is something CNN has made a video about once, so it shows the importance of it. What this is basically is a crosshair printed onto a vinyl film. The film will cling to your TV using a little bit of moisture. You can position the reticle dead center of your screen and will give you a massive advantage. The nice thing about these is the price. Just as a side note on screen targets, you'll find many people offering suggestions such as using tape, paper, and blue tack. Please be very careful when using adhesive products, as you are likely to damage your screen. You can obstruct your vision also by using paper and other makeshift crosshairs. Again, I'll put a link in the description. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this video. I hope that you can now see how everything ties together, and I hope this has helped. I would like to say thank you to all my subscribers, especially the people who have encouraged me to make this new video. I look forward to reading your comments. I always read every comment you guys make, even if I don't respond to them. If I've been any help to anyone, please comment, please click the like button, and please subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Anyway guys, you have a lovely, lovely day, and I will speak to you soon. Bye bye.